Hello everyone, welcome back to English Speaking Edge, your go-to channel to improve your English speaking skills and build confidence for professional interviews. If you want to sound fluent, confident, and professional when answering interview questions, you're in the right place. Today, we'll go through a full finance career interview practice, covering roles from junior financial analyst all the way up to finance director. So make sure to watch till the end. You'll learn not only how to answer interview questions naturally in English, but also how to present yourself as an expert in financial analysis, budgeting, forecasting, and leadership. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to English Speaking Edge, like this video, comment your favorite question, and share it with friends preparing for finance interviews. Now, let's begin with the junior financial analyst position. Tell me about yourself and why you chose a career in finance.
I've always enjoyed working with numbers and solving business problems. During my studies, I focused on financial management and accounting, and I completed an internship that taught me how data drives real business decisions. I'm passionate about analyzing performance and providing insights that support company growth.
What does a financial analyst do in a company?
A financial analyst collects and interprets data, prepares reports, tracks budgets, and provides forecasts to support decision-making. The goal is to turn financial data into actionable insights that guide company strategy.
What key skills should a junior analyst have?
Analytical thinking, attention to detail, proficiency in Excel, and the ability to communicate clearly. A junior analyst must be accurate, organized, and eager to learn from senior team members.
How do you analyze financial statements?
I review the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. Then I calculate ratios like current ratio, debt to equity, and profit margin to assess liquidity, solvency, and profitability.
Which financial tools do you use most often?
Primarily Microsoft Excel, Power BI for visualization, and accounting systems like SAP or QuickBooks.
Describe a time when you found an error in a financial report.
During my internship, I noticed an expense misclassification that overstated operating costs. I double-checked with the accounting team, corrected it, and learned how crucial verification is.
What are your steps when preparing a monthly report?
I gather updated data, clean and organize it, analyze variances, create visuals, and write an executive summary highlighting trends.
How do you manage deadlines?
I create a clear schedule, prioritize key deliverables, and communicate early if there's a risk of delay.
What are common financial ratios you use and why?
Liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, and leverage ratios, because they help measure short-term solvency, performance, and capital structure.
How do you stay updated on financial trends?
I read Bloomberg and the Financial Times daily, follow finance blogs, and watch reports about global markets.
How do you deal with repetitive data tasks?
I use Excel shortcuts, templates, and automation tools like macros to speed up repetitive work.
How do you handle stress at work?
I stay organized, take short breaks, and focus on one task at a time. I also remind myself that quality matters more than speed.
Tell me about a financial challenge you helped solve.
I once helped identify overspending in marketing by creating a cost-tracking template. It improved budget control by 15%.
What are your career goals in finance?
I aim to gain strong analytical and reporting experience and eventually move into a senior or management role.
Why should we hire you?
Because I combine analytical precision, enthusiasm to learn, and teamwork skills. I'm motivated to contribute from day one and grow with your company.
Now that we've practiced questions for the junior financial analyst, let's move up to the financial analyst position, where you take on more responsibility, deeper analysis, and stronger business collaboration. What is your approach to building a financial forecast?
I analyze historical data, market trends, and internal targets. I work closely with sales and operations to ensure realistic assumptions, then use scenario analysis to test sensitivity.
How do you ensure accuracy in your financial models?
I document all assumptions, cross-check data sources, test formulas, and have peers review my work before submission.
Explain variance analysis.
Variance analysis compares actual results to budget or forecast. It helps identify where performance deviated and why, allowing management to take corrective actions.
How do you present complex data to non-finance teams?
I summarize key findings in plain English. Using visuals like charts and KP is to make insights easy to understand.
What are the key components of a cash flow statement?
Operating, investing, and financing activities. Each shows how the company generates and uses cash.
How do you evaluate an investment opportunity?
By analyzing NPV, IRR, payback period, and risk factors. I also consider market potential and strategic fit.
Describe your experience with budgeting.
I help prepare departmental budgets, consolidate them, and track variances monthly to ensure we stay aligned with targets.
What's a time you influenced a business decision?
My analysis of production costs led to supplier renegotiations that saved the company 8% annually.
How do you deal with conflicting priorities?
I discuss priorities with my manager, plan accordingly, and communicate openly with stakeholders.
How do you measure financial performance?
Through KPIs such as ROI, EBITDA, margin growth, and working capital turnover.
How do you handle large data sets?
I use pivot tables, filters, and database tools to extract patterns efficiently.
What makes a good financial analyst?
Analytical accuracy, curiosity, communication skills, and the ability to connect data with business strategy.
How do you collaborate with other departments?
I maintain open communication, translate financial impact clearly, and ensure shared accountability for results.
What's your biggest professional strength?
Turning data into meaningful stories that support strategic decisions.
What's your long-term goal?
To become a senior financial analyst and later a finance manager, where I can lead projects and mentor junior analysts.
Great. Now let's step into the senior financial analyst role, where the focus shifts to leadership, forecasting, and strategic business support. Tell me about your role as a senior financial analyst.
As a senior financial analyst, my core responsibility is to bridge the gap between data and decision-making. I manage forecasting, variance analysis, and financial modeling across multiple business units. My role involves transforming raw financial data into strategic insights that leadership can act on. I also play a mentoring role for junior analysts, reviewing their models, helping them refine their analytical thinking, and ensuring accuracy and consistency across reports. Beyond technical analysis, I'm expected to see the bigger picture, how financial trends connect to operational performance, market behavior, and long-term strategy.
How do you approach building complex financial models?
I start by clarifying the purpose and assumptions of the model, making sure I fully understand what the stakeholders want to measure, whether it's profitability, investment return, or cost optimization. I then structure the model modularly, inputs, calculations, and outputs separated clearly, so it's transparent and easy to audit. I include scenario analysis and sensitivity testing to show how changes in key variables can affect outcomes. Finally, I review the model multiple times for accuracy, document the logic behind each key formula, and ensure that anyone who uses it can easily update it in the future.
How do you ensure the accuracy of your forecasts?
I include scenario analysis and sensitivity testing to show how changes in key variables can affect outcomes. Finally, I review the model multiple times for accuracy, document the logic behind each key formula, and ensure that anyone who uses it can easily update it in the future. Over time, I refine the forecasting process by identifying recurring errors and improving data collection points. Forecasting isn't just about numbers. It's about storytelling backed by evidence.
How do you present complex financial insights to senior management?
The key is clarity. Senior leaders don't want spreadsheets. They want the story behind the numbers. I translate financial results into business language. Instead of saying, operating expenses increased by 8%, I explain, rising logistics costs reduced our operating margin by 1.5 points. I use visuals like charts, dashboards, and concise executive summaries to make data intuitive. I also focus on the so what. Every presentation must lead to a decision or action.
Describe a time when your analysis influenced a key business decision.
At my previous company, I conducted a detailed profitability analysis on our product portfolio. I discovered that one low-margin product was consuming a disproportionate amount of marketing spend and resources. I presented a scenario showing how reallocating that budget toward higher-margin products could improve net profit by nearly 10%. The management adopted the recommendation, and within 2 quarters, we saw a tangible lift in profitability and overall operational focus.
How do you deal with disagreements over your financial recommendations?
Disagreement is part of analytical work. I stay data-driven, calm, and open to discussion. I focus on aligning my recommendations with the company's strategic goals, and I use evidence, not emotion, to justify my position. If leadership decides differently, I still support the decision and document my findings for future review. Constructive debate often leads to better decisions, so I never take disagreement personally.
What financial metrics do you monitor most closely?
It depends on the business model, but generally, I focus on metrics that reflect profitability, efficiency, and liquidity, such as EBITDA, gross profit margin, operating cash flow, working capital turnover, and return on invested capital. These metrics collectively reveal how efficiently the business converts revenue into value.
How do you manage competing deadlines and heavy workloads?
Prioritization and structure. I start every week with a clear plan, identifying which reports or analyzers have the highest impact or urgency. I communicate timelines transparently with stakeholders, delegate effectively when possible, and automate routine tasks using tools like Power BI or Excel macros. I've also learned to say not yet instead of no. It's about managing expectations while maintaining quality.
Tell me about a process improvement you implemented.
I noticed our monthly variance reporting took excessive manual effort and time. I designed a dynamic Excel dashboard linked to our ERP system, which automated most calculations and visualized variances by cost center. This reduced report preparation time from 3 days to a few hours and allowed more time for strategic analysis. The system was later adopted by other departments company-wide.
How do you maintain data confidentiality and integrity?
Financial data security is non-negotiable. I strictly follow internal access controls and only share information on a need-to-know basis. I double-check sensitive files for permissions, avoid using unencrypted channels, and comply with all company data protection policies. I also encourage team members to maintain the same vigilance, because financial integrity starts with culture.
How do you mentor junior analysts?
I believe in teaching by collaboration. When reviewing their work, I don't just correct mistakes. I explain why something is inaccurate, or how it could be improved. I help them understand how their reports connect to real business outcomes. I also encourage curiosity, asking why behind each number develops analytical thinking far better than just following templates.
What's your role in the annual budgeting process?
I work closely with department heads to consolidate and validate their budget inputs, ensuring alignment with strategic goals and prior year performance. I run multiple iterations to test different assumptions, highlight risks and opportunities, and present the consolidated view to senior leadership. I also prepare budget variance analyses throughout the year to ensure financial discipline and adaptability.
How do you stay updated with industry trends and financial developments?
I read Bloomberg, the Financial Times, and industry-specific research regularly. I also follow thought leaders on LinkedIn and attend webinars or professional development sessions focused on financial planning, data analytics, and technology. Staying informed about both macroeconomic changes and digital transformation in finance helps me bring modern insights to the table.
Describe how you handle an error discovered after a report was sent.
Transparency and accountability are crucial. I immediately correct the mistake, notify my manager, and resend the report with clear notes explaining the revision. Then, I review my process to identify the root cause, whether it was a formula issue, wrong assumption, or human oversight, and put checks in place to prevent it from recurring. Mistakes can be powerful teachers if handled professionally.
What are your professional goals moving forward?
I'm focused on transitioning into a finance manager role where I can combine my analytical experience with team leadership and strategic decision-making. My long-term goal is to influence financial planning at a broader organizational level, not just through reports, but through vision, structure, and strategic partnership with executive leadership.
Now that we've practiced the senior financial analyst level, let's move on to the finance manager, where your focus expands to leadership, budgeting, forecasting accuracy, and strategic financial control. Tell me about your role and responsibilities as a finance manager.
As a finance manager, my primary role is to oversee the financial health of the company by managing budgeting, forecasting, reporting, and strategic planning processes. I'm responsible for ensuring that all financial operations are accurate, compliant, and aligned with organizational goals. I supervise a team of analysts and accountants, review monthly reports, monitor KPIs, and communicate insights to senior management. Beyond reporting, I play a key role in financial strategy, identifying opportunities to improve efficiency, optimize cash flow, and drive profitability. My role is both analytical and leadership-focused, ensuring finance becomes a true business partner, not just a reporting function.
How do you manage and motivate your finance team?
Leadership in finance requires clarity, consistency, and collaboration. I start by setting clear expectations and aligning each team member's work with company objectives. I regularly hold team check-ins to review progress, discuss challenges, and recognize achievements. I also invest time in developing my team's skills, offering coaching on analysis techniques, presentation skills, and financial tools. I believe in empowerment through trust. When people feel ownership of their work, they perform at a higher level. I always remind my team that accuracy and integrity are our brand. Our credibility drives business confidence.
How do you approach the annual budgeting process?
Budgeting is one of the most strategic responsibilities of my role. I begin by collaborating with department heads to understand their plans and priorities. Then, I consolidate those inputs into a master budget aligned with the company's strategic goals. I analyze prior year performance, forecast revenue and expenses, and run multiple scenarios to anticipate risks. Once finalized, I ensure the budget is communicated clearly across departments, so everyone understands their financial targets. Throughout the year, I monitor actuals versus budget, conduct variance analysis, and provide actionable recommendations to stay on track or adjust when necessary.
How do you manage financial reporting accuracy and compliance?
I implement a strong internal control framework that ensures all transactions are properly recorded and reconciled. My team follows strict month-end closing procedures, including account reconciliations, journal reviews, and validation of supporting documentation. I also work closely with external auditors to ensure our reporting meets IFRS or GAAP standards. I believe accuracy begins with discipline, consistent checks, clear documentation, and accountability at every step of the process.
Describe a major financial project you've led successfully.
In my previous company, I led a cost optimization project across 3 business units. I performed a detailed expense analysis and identified inefficiencies in procurement and logistics. By renegotiating vendor contracts and introducing centralized purchasing, we reduced operational costs by 12% without affecting output quality. I developed dashboards to track cost-saving progress and presented the findings to the board. This project not only improved profitability but also created a culture of cost ownership across departments.
How do you handle financial forecasting during uncertain times?
Forecasting under uncertainty requires flexibility and scenario planning. I use a rolling forecast approach, updating projections quarterly or monthly based on new data. I create best case, base case, and worst case scenarios, testing how changes in revenue, pricing, or market demand might impact profitability and cash flow. I also emphasize transparent communication with leadership. It's not just about predicting numbers, but preparing for possibilities. During volatile periods, timely and data-driven forecasting becomes a company's greatest advantage.
How do you ensure cross-department collaboration on financial goals?
Finance doesn't work in isolation. We succeed when we understand how other departments operate. I build strong relationships with heads of sales, operations, and HR by maintaining open communication and offering financial support rather than control. When presenting reports, I focus on impact, how numbers connect to real business outcomes. I also organize quarterly financial review meetings with key stakeholders to align on targets, discuss performance, and identify improvement areas. This collaborative approach builds trust and ensures financial decisions are owned by everyone, not just finance.
How do you handle disagreements between finance and other departments?
Disagreements usually arise when financial constraints meet operational ambitions. I always listen first. Understanding the department's perspective helps find common ground. Then, I use data to present objective insights, for instance, showing how a budget increase might affect cash flow or ROI. I avoid saying no outright. Instead, I propose alternatives like phased implementation or cost reallocation. The goal is to balance control with support, ensuring fiscal discipline without stifling innovation.
What are your strategies for improving cash flow management?
I monitor working capital closely, focusing on receivables, payables, and inventory turnover. I implement tighter credit control policies, encourage early payment incentives for customers, and negotiate favorable payment terms with suppliers. I also forecast cash flow weekly to anticipate shortages and plan accordingly. Beyond short-term liquidity, I work with leadership on long-term capital planning to ensure we always have the financial flexibility to invest in growth opportunities.
Describe a time you made a difficult financial decision.
During a budget shortfall, I had to recommend cutting discretionary spending by 15% across departments. It wasn't easy because it affected ongoing projects. However, I presented clear data showing how these measures would stabilize cash flow and prevent potential layoffs. I worked with each department to identify non-critical areas to reduce costs while protecting essential activities. The decision was tough, but it helped the company maintain stability and later rebound stronger.
How do you manage audits and ensure readiness?
Audit readiness begins months before the actual audit. I ensure my team maintains organized records, clear reconciliations, and proper documentation throughout the year. I also perform internal pre-audit reviews to identify and fix discrepancies early. During the audit, I act as the main liaison between auditors and internal teams, ensuring transparency, quick responses, and a professional approach. A successful audit isn't just about compliance. It's about demonstrating integrity and operational maturity.
What key financial indicators do you review monthly?
Each month, I focus on revenue trends, gross margin analysis, operating expense ratios, cash conversion cycle, and working capital movement. I also monitor return on investment, ROI, for major initiatives, and compare performance against both budget and last year's figures. I summarize these KPIs in a monthly executive report that highlights risks, opportunities, and recommendations. It's not just about reporting numbers. It's about explaining their story and what action should follow.
How do you integrate technology into financial management?
Digital transformation has become essential in finance. I actively leverage automation tools like Power BI, SAP, and ERP analytics to streamline reporting and improve data visibility. I also encourage my team to adopt Excel automation and cloud-based collaboration platforms. By integrating technology, we reduce manual work, improve accuracy, and gain faster insights. I believe finance professionals must evolve from number crunchers to strategic analysts, and technology is the key enabler.
How do you handle underperforming team members?
I start by understanding the root cause, whether it's a lack of skill, motivation, or clarity. I provide constructive feedback privately and set clear improvement goals with timelines. I also mentor them directly or assign a peer coach for technical support. If performance doesn't improve despite support, I take appropriate HR-aligned actions. My leadership philosophy is accountability with empathy. Help people grow, but also maintain team standards.
What's your long-term vision as a finance leader?
My long-term vision is to evolve from a finance manager to a finance director who influences strategy at the highest level. I want to build finance teams that are proactive business partners, not reactive record keepers. I believe in creating a culture where financial insight drives every decision, where data, innovation, and ethics coexist. Ultimately, I see myself contributing to long-term value creation, sustainable growth, and organizational excellence.
Now let's move to the final level, finance director, where leadership, corporate vision, and strategic decision-making come together to drive financial excellence across the entire organization. Can you describe your overall role and leadership philosophy as a CFO?
As a chief financial officer, my role extends far beyond managing the company's finances. It's about guiding the overall strategic direction of the organization. I see finance as the foundation for every business decision. My philosophy centers on transparency, accountability, and partnership. I ensure financial integrity while fostering a forward-looking, data-driven culture that empowers departments to make smarter choices. I collaborate closely with the CEO and board to drive sustainable growth, manage risks, and optimize shareholder value. Leadership to me means inspiring trust, encouraging innovation, and aligning financial goals with the company's mission and long-term vision.
How do you balance short-term performance with long-term financial strategy?
Balancing short-term results with long-term vision is one of the biggest challenges of a CFO. I start by defining clear KPIs that align both operational efficiency and strategic investments, while I maintain a sharp focus on profitability and liquidity in the short term. I always evaluate decisions through a long-term lens, considering how they impact competitiveness, innovation, and sustainability. For example, reinvesting in R&D or digital transformation might temporarily reduce margins, but ensures future growth. I believe a CFO must guide the company to make disciplined, future-oriented decisions even under short-term pressure.
What are the key metrics you monitor regularly to assess company performance?
I focus on both financial and strategic indicators. Revenue growth rate, EBITDA margin, operating cash flow, return on invested capital, ROIC, and debt-to-equity ratio. But beyond numbers, I also track leading indicators such as customer acquisition cost, churn rate, and employee productivity. I use dashboards to provide real-time visibility to the executive team, so decisions are backed by data, not assumptions. The key is not just to report numbers, but to interpret what they mean and how to respond proactively.
How do you approach risk management and crisis leadership?
Risk management starts with identifying vulnerabilities, from market volatility and liquidity to operational and cybersecurity risks. I work with cross-functional teams to build risk models, stress test scenarios, and create contingency plans. During crises, communication becomes my top priority. I ensure that the board, employees, and stakeholders receive transparent, timely updates. I lead with calm, data-driven decision-making and focus on protecting cash, maintaining investor confidence, and ensuring business continuity. Every crisis is also a lesson. It reveals where systems can be improved for greater resilience.
How do you communicate financial information to non-financial executives or board members?
I always translate complex data into meaningful business insights. Instead of overloading stakeholders with technical terms, I focus on storytelling through numbers. What's driving results, where the risks lie, and what actions are needed. I use visuals like dashboards and performance summaries to simplify understanding. My goal is to make finance accessible, so every leader can make informed decisions. Effective communication builds trust and makes the CFO a true strategic advisor, not just a financial gatekeeper.
Describe your approach to capital allocation and investment decisions.
Capital allocation defines the company's growth path. I evaluate opportunities based on ROI, risk profile, and strategic alignment. I prioritize investments that strengthen core capabilities, improve efficiency, or open new revenue streams. I also ensure a balanced capital structure, maintaining liquidity while optimizing debt and equity to minimize cost of capital. Every investment must not only promise returns, but also align with our vision and long-term value creation goals.
How do you manage relationships with investors, banks, and external stakeholders?
I treat external relationships as partnerships based on credibility and consistent communication. I maintain open dialogues with investors through quarterly reports, presentations, and transparent updates about company performance and challenges. With banks and financial institutions, I negotiate favorable terms while ensuring compliance and trust. I believe credibility is built over time. When stakeholders see reliability in numbers and consistency in leadership, confidence follows naturally.
How do you ensure financial compliance and ethical governance?
Ethics and compliance form the backbone of financial leadership. I establish strict internal controls, clear approval hierarchies, and regular audits to detect discrepancies early. I also promote a culture of integrity, ensuring every employee understands the why behind financial rules. When people see compliance as a shared responsibility rather than a burden, accuracy and transparency become natural outcomes. As CFO, I lead by example, zero tolerance for shortcuts, and complete commitment to accountability.
How do you leverage technology and digital transformation in finance?
Technology is redefining the finance function. I drive the integration of ERP systems, automation tools, and business intelligence platforms like Power BI or Tableau to improve reporting speed and accuracy. Automation reduces manual errors and allows finance teams to focus on analysis and strategy instead of repetitive tasks. I'm also interested in predictive analytics, using AI to anticipate trends and support proactive decision-making. For a modern CFO, digital fluency is no longer optional. It's a strategic advantage.
Describe a time when you led a major financial transformation.
In a previous organization, I led a complete finance transformation initiative involving process automation, restructuring, and talent development. We migrated to a cloud-based ERP system, consolidated regional reporting into a centralized hub, and introduced automated dashboards for real-time insights. Within a year, financial close time dropped by 40%, forecasting accuracy improved by 25%, and decision-making became faster. The key was not just implementing tools, but aligning people and culture with the vision for change.
How do you manage cost optimization without harming productivity or innovation?
Cost optimization should never mean blind cuts. It's about intelligent spending. I conduct detailed cost-benefit analyses to identify inefficiencies, then reallocate resources toward high-impact initiatives. For example, reducing travel budgets but increasing investment in digital collaboration tools can save costs while improving productivity. I also encourage cross-department collaboration to eliminate redundancies. The focus is on sustainable efficiency, not short-term austerity.
How do you align the finance function with corporate strategy?
I ensure that every financial plan directly supports the company's strategic priorities. That starts with deeply understanding the business model and the competitive landscape. I work closely with the CEO and other executives to translate strategic goals into measurable financial targets. My team develops rolling forecasts, capital plans, and performance dashboards that track progress.
How do you evaluate mergers and acquisitions M&A opportunities?
I approach M&A with a structured due diligence process, assessing financial health, valuation, synergies, cultural compatibility, and integration risks. Beyond numbers, I look at strategic fit, whether the acquisition strengthens our capabilities or expands our market presence. Post-acquisition, I focus on integration planning to realize the intended value quickly. I believe M&A success depends 70% on execution, not just valuation. So I pay special attention to cultural alignment and operational readiness.
How do you handle financial challenges such as liquidity issues or market downturns?
In challenging times, I prioritize liquidity and resilience. I immediately review cash flow forecasts, renegotiate payment terms, and assess non-essential expenditures. I also explore alternative financing options and maintain transparent communication with investors and lenders. The key is acting early. Proactive measures prevent reactive crises. I guide the leadership team in making tough but strategic choices that protect both short-term stability and long-term growth potential.
What's your long-term vision as a CFO?
My long-term vision is to create a finance organization that drives innovation, agility, and long-term value creation. I want to position finance not just as a control function, but as a strategic catalyst for transformation. I aim to build teams that are tech-savvy, data-driven, and business-minded, capable of influencing every strategic decision with insight and foresight. Ultimately, I aspire to contribute to an organization that's financially strong, operationally resilient, and ethically sound. One that leaves a lasting positive legacy.
If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to English Speaking Edge, like this video, and share it with colleagues or friends preparing for finance-related interviews. Comment below to tell us which finance position you are targeting or what kind of interview you'd like us to cover next. Remember, practice makes progress. Keep reviewing these Q&As, practice speaking them aloud, and you'll be ready to impress any interviewer with clarity, confidence, and professionalism. Subscribe now and stay tuned for more full interview simulations to help you master professional English and succeed in your career.